Hello, everyone.
Hi everyone.
I'm not hearing you, Blessing. Are you
Mhm.
muted?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so good morning, everybody. So good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining us from. People often say congratulations when you've made it abroad, but when they rarely ask, what did it cost you to get here? Today's conversation is about the part of immigration that photos never capture. The birthdays you watched through a phone screen, the parents who grew older when you were busy working, the careers some people had to leave behind, the pressure to keep smiling because everyone back home believes that once you leave your country, every problem disappears. The truth is, immigration doesn't only change your location, it changes your relationship, it changes your identity, and it changes the way you think about money, time, family, and even yourself. That is why today's topic is so important. And the topic is titled The Hidden Cost of Starting Over. The lesson many immigrant families discover too late. So now we are going to start with introducing ourselves to our wonderful viewers today. And I will go first. My name is Blessing. I am a teacher and an online digital business owner and mentor living and working in Japan. I am originally from Nigeria, so nice to be here again today. So I want Abigail to introduce herself, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Blessing. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to you, wherever you are in the world, depending on your time zone. If you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Avagay. I do this business alongside my husband, Jordan. I'm an HR practitioner slash digital business owner. We are Jamaicans living in South Florida, and we are just excited. I'm grateful to be here another week. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so very much. So now let's go to Joanne. Joanne, please can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us. My name is Joanne. I'm a registered nurse by profession. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. And yeah, I'm doing this business. I've been doing this business a little bit for a while now. I love it because it gave me something to look forward to other than just running off to work. And I'm
Oh,
happy that
thank
you're
you.
here listening.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. It's such a pleasure to have you both again today for another wonderful, series. And I would love to hear everyone's perspective on this because each immigrant journey is different, and I'm sure that we will hear valuable lessons from different experiences. And this goes to the question. So we're going to have four questions, and I am going to answer question one. And question one goes like this: says, when people think about migrating, right? They often focus on the opportunities. What are some of the hidden emotional, financial, and personal costs that many immigrants don't fully understand until they experience them? And for me, I would say that the first hidden cost is starting over again, because it doesn't ask for your suitcase first. What it asks for is for your identity. And many people arrive as experienced teachers, nurses, engineers, accountants, doctors, business owners, or professionals. And suddenly what happens? They become the new person. They have to prove themselves again. Sometimes they accept jobs below their qualification because of language barrier, licensing requirements, or simply because survival comes before pride. And that can quietly affect confidence. Then comes the financial reality. People see salary abroad. They don't always see the rent, the taxes, the health insurances, the pensions, the transportation, the childcare, food, utilities. Then on top of all that, many immigrants are still sending money home. One income is carrying two households, one in the country they live in now, another in the country they left behind. Then there is this emotional cost. And one day you just realize that you have attended more funeral and birthdays on phone screen than in real life. And life back home keeps moving. Children keeps growing. Parents keep aging and friends keep moving on. Time never pauses because someone migrated. And perhaps the biggest hidden cost is this: many immigrants become so busy building a better future that they forget to build a life that they can actually enjoy today. So working hard is honorable, but if your every year looks exactly like one before, eventually we have to ask ourselves a very genuine question. Are we building a future or simply financing our survival? And that is question every immigrant family deserves to think about. And this brings me to our number two question. And I would love to hear everyone's perspective. So, Avage, if starting over comes with so many hidden lessons, what is one lesson immigrants usually discover only after they have already made the journey?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Blessing. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
So one lesson I wish, more immigrants knew before starting this journey is that starting over isn't just about rebuilding your finances. It's
Mm,
also about rebuilding your confidence
mm,
and at times, sometimes your identity. When I
mm,
migrated to the US, I migrated after COVID. And when I came here, I intentionally searched for opportunities in my field of work, which is human resources. And
mm,
thankfully, I was able to secure an HR position. It wasn't at the level I was qualified for, but I was grateful that I got my foot in the door. I understood that sometimes you have to start below your qualification, prove
mm,
yourself, and
mm,
continue to grow. My
mm,
husband's journey, though, was very different. He migrated pre-COVID, so he migrated before COVID with a master's degree and a strong academic background. And in Jamaica, he was doing well professionally
mm,
and had built his career he was proud of. Like many immigrants, he expected that his qualification and his experience would open doors quickly. But,
mm,
ladies, that was not his reality. Finding a position in his field was a real struggle. When
mm,
I said a real struggle, it was a real struggle. In the meantime, what he did, he took a job. He took several at least, but I remember one of them he spoke, of was he took a job packing the shelves in Walmart.
mm,
And there was the truth is there is absolutely nothing wrong with honest work. And I believe you're working your honest bread. That is what is critical, right? And
mm,
we do have great respect for anyone who is willing to work. But I will tell you this, emotionally, it was a difficult adjustment because
yes.
it was so different from the career that he had spent years building. To
Mm,
be honest, there was a season when it became so incredibly frustrating and overwhelming for him. There were moments when he even considered returning to Jamaica because the
mm,
contrast between the life he had left behind and the one he
mm,
was experienced here was significantly different. And
mm,
that highlights that there's a hidden cost of starting over that many people don't truly talk about.
mm,
It can leave you questioning your decisions, your confidence, and even your sense of identity. And that's just the plain truth.
mm,
Thankfully, he didn't give up. He remained resilient. He continued believing in himself and eventually was given an opportunity in his professional field. He
mm,
proved his capabilities and over the years, would have achieved significant career growth. Looking back,
mm,
we're incredibly proud that he never allowed a temporary season to define his future. Sadly, our story is one that many, many immigrant families can relate to. Some way worse than what we did. I always say to them, I came here and the truth is I didn't experience the struggles that a lot of people, face. My husband took the blunt of it. So when we came, it was a little easier for us. But the truth is, a lot of families can relate to this. People arrive, with degrees and their experiences and dreams, only to discover they have to rebuild almost everything from ground up. That process can shake your confidence. and make you wonder if you made the right decision. And that's just the plain truth. I've seen people who have come here from other countries as doctors and engineers, and they are doing mediocre jobs. Can you
Mm,
imagine being a doctor coming here just to cut grass? And I honestly say that I don't look down on jobs, but I'll tell you that will kill your spirit. You have to
mm,
find the strength within you to really pull and continue to pursue. So my advice is this: where you start in a new country does not determine where you'll finish. Be willing
mm,
to start where the opportunity is.
mm,
Keep investing in yourself. You will have to be sure that you don't remain where you are. Keep
mm,
investing in yourself and do not allow a temporary position to make you forget your value. Starting
mm.
over is a part of our journey, but we should never, never, never allow it to become our identity. Thank you so much for that question, Blessing.
Oh, thank you so much, Avage. Those are powerful insights. And one thing many immigrants have in common is that nobody can question how hard they work. The biggest question is, can hard work alone still build the future that we want? So thank you so much for sharing. And this brings me, and let me tell you something, in this world that we are now, our children will always inherit what is changing faster than the world, many of us has entered. Because the real question is not whether change is coming, it is whether
Mhm.
immigrant families are preparing for it.
Right.
And this brings me to our next question. One thing many immigrants have in common is that nobody can question how hard they work. Nobody questions how hard you work. All they ask is, please send me money, do this, do that. But the truth is that, can hard work alone still build the future that we want? Because I keep asking myself that question every day. And this brings me to our next question, which is question number 3. And Joanne is going to answer that. So, Joanne, question number 3 goes like this: it says, many immigrants work incredibly hard, yet still feel financially stressed. What mindset shifts or practical changes can help families move from simply surviving to building long term stability?
Thank you very much, Blessing. I don't know if you targeted this question because you knew a little bit of my story, but I think for me this is very personal, and I would answer it from my personal view. I think
Mm,
the biggest mindset change is thinking that I'm going to work as hard. I'm going to pick up every other shift and do it. In that way,
mm,
you are literally spending your very own life just to earn an income. And what ends up happening is that in my case, I used to do night shifts only, and I would literally have 5 days of nights, and then maybe one day, or 1 day and a half to reset, and then go back again to the nights. And I remember the time I was casual, so it was kind of hard. I needed to work to earn. Without work, I had no income. And I was earning a good amount, but as you said, there's the black tax we don't talk about. There is all these other things that we think we are building, but you're spending your very life. So the biggest thing is, immigrants need to have a mindset shift. And for me, that was my wake up call. Because when I realized that I'm spending all these hours working at night, sleeping during the day, I have no other life. And that's it.
mm,
So I had to come from thinking I need to pick up the next shift to I need to create multiple income streams that bring in income without me spending the very life that I have. And that
mm,
sort of is the key for many of us, many immigrants. Yes, it's good to pick up the work, it's good to work hard, but if you're going to spend your very life just to survive, then something is not right there. And
Mhm.
the shift should be, how can you build assets, how can you earn extra, and how do you learn more than just the job that you did, practically, how can you be more practical about it? The first thing is you need to learn new skills.
Mm.
When once you learn new skills, now we have AI, and I really get mad at these AI adverts sometimes, because they keep targeting a certain age group, and they keep but that's the truth though, because there's a certain age group that is thinking, no, I went to school, I did nursing, that's it, I don't need anything more. We need to learn new skills, so that
Mm.
once we've learned the new skills, we can actually create additional income streams rather than relying on the salary. Because you
Mm.
know what, one thing that being abroad, in as much as we celebrate being abroad, we celebrate what God has given us. We thank God for these opportunities to live here. You're only as good as your health, period.
Mhm.
If your
Yes.
health keeps you, then you will survive. And so, you need to think long term. You need to think additional income streams. You need to think financial decisions rather than just surviving
Mm.
month to month. And like, Blessing and Avage have said, immigrants were some of the most hardworking. Sometimes I look when I'm on night shift and I'm looking around the ward, and I tell you what, it's only immigrants. We laugh about it. We know ourselves. We know who show up to work, because, you know, God has given us the capacity to know that, okay, we are here, we need to work hard. But at what expense? Is it at the expense of your health, at the expense of family time, at the expense of your very, very core life? Think about it. And just think stability, think long term, think generational wealth, rather than one paycheck to one paycheck.
Mm.
Thank you,
Oh,
Blessing.
thank you so much. You know what Joa said made me reflect on when I first came to Japan. I remember when I had a teaching job, right? But at night I would still go and do another night shift job, you know. And it was so strenuous, but I'm always happy. Why? Because I was earning. But at the end of the day, like what Joanne said, your health matters. So if
Mm.
you're
Mhm.
if you're left with a good health, oh, so be it, thank God. But if not, that money you've worked, you're going to start taking care of your health issues. And the truth is that if
Exactly.
there's one thought I'd like everyone to live with today, it is immigration is not the finish line.
Mm-mm.
It is the starting line.
It is.
Why do why do I say that? Crossing a border can change your address overnight, but building stability, like Joanne said, building peace, building financial confidence, those things take intentional decision long after the plane lands. Because I remember Abaga's story when she said the husband came in and the husband was doing a job in Walmart parking and he was so frustrated. I know that feeling. Because here in Japan, I've seen someone where I was working before. I've seen a master's, I think even a PhD degree holder. I think I shared that with Joanne. A PhD degree holder, PhD in math. He is working in, and I was like, okay, I will help you get a teaching job. And then we applied for so many teaching jobs, and they weren't taking him. And I was wondering, like, why? And he was so frustrated because he's like, oh, I think I have to go back to my country and all of that. Yes, I know I'm earning, but the kind of insult I get, the kind of ill treatment, because for the kind of
Mhm.
qualification you have, especially coming from back home, there's this certain level of respect people accord you, right? But when you're an
Mhm.
immigrant abroad, I'm just saying the truth, whether you like to believe it or not, as an immigrant abroad, they don't
Mhm.
see you as anything, no matter how much you put in.
Yeah.
Most times when you even do your work so well, they see you as competition. You see them, they start plotting against
Mhm.
you. They start making sure that when you come to work, that your mood will change, that your actions, so that they want you to dent your character. They want you to act out that idea they have of a particular immigrant. Do you understand? So most times
Mhm.
you get so frustrated that you start asking yourself, but I went to school. What am I doing here? But the truth is that you have
Mhm.
to be intentional with your decisions. Because at the end of the day, you migrated abroad. You came for greener pasture. So what do you do at the end of the day when you see those things? You have to keep doing it. Keep
Yes.
doing why you keep doing it, like Avaga's husband. He kept doing that and he kept looking for a way where he was going to get a job that fits his status,
Mhm.
right? Giving up is not the go-to. So you have to be resilient, you have to stay, you have to put your head in and try to learn, because while you're doing those things, you also try to make connections, go online, start looking for
Yes.
job opportunities that fit your
Mhm.
qualification. And if your qualification need if the qualification you came from back home needs another top up, please, while you do those jobs you do, try to go online or try to register for those qualifications, for those, those qualifications you have to earn again to top up the one you came with. Because the truth is that whether you like it or not, as an immigrant, most people get it easy. Like now, it's very easy for doctors, nurses, and engineers and whatever to just go in and, through they have pathways now, right? But before, it was very difficult. And remember that the goal shouldn't simply be for you to survive in another country.
Mm-mm.
The goal is for you to create a life where the next generation inherits more than our sacrifices. They should be able to inherit our wisdom. you know
Mhm.
and this brings me to the next question, which is our final question, which is question number 4. Because what habits, skills, or decisions do you believe will make the biggest difference for immigrant families who want to create a stronger future for themselves and the next generation? And this question goes to Ava again. Ava, please, can you answer this question?
Sure. Thank you so much, Blessing. So I would have to say, looking ahead, I believe the biggest difference for immigrant families will come from being intentional about developing the right mindset, skills, and habits, not just for today, but for the future we want to create. One of the most important shift is moving from survival mindset to a growth mindset. Many immigrants come from a place of sacrifice and hard work, and those qualities are valuable. However, one of the things we cannot underscore enough is that survival alone can keep us focused only on paying the bills and meeting the immediate needs. Building long term stability requires us to start thinking beyond today and asking, what are we building and how will we benefit the next generation? From a
Mm,
practical standpoint, Blessing, continuous learning will be critical. We
mm,
live in a world that is changing quickly, and the
mm,
skills that created opportunities yesterday,
mm,
unfortunately, may not be enough for tomorrow. Immigrant
mm,
families must be willing to adapt and embrace the technology, develop new skills, and position themselves for emerging opportunities. Another important habit, I think, is being intentional with our finances. We've
mm,
seen so many people, migrating and earn a little bit, and the next thing they're somewhere in a playing poker, gambling, or just getting caught up in all sort of craziness moving, overseas. I think when you come into a new country, there's a lot of habits that you come and you see, and it looks all okay, that's nice, but how do you get there? You're earning $10, but you're buying a BMW. I'm sorry. $10 an hour cannot make a BMW car payment. So we have to be, it is important that we create habits that are intentional with our finances. Earning more is important, but understand how we manage, invest, and create assets is what will help families build long-term security. We have to shift the conversation, ladies, from simply making an income to creating financial strategies that can impact our future and our families for years to come. And
mm,
finally, I believe relationships and community will play a major role. No one builds lasting success alone, and that's just the pure truth. When I was a child, there was this saying that said, "No man is an island, no man stand alone." And as a child, I think I thought I knew what that meant, but as I continue into adolescent and adulthood, I think I now truly have a good understanding exactly what that means. So it is
mm,
important that, we find mentors, we surround ourselves with people who challenge us to grow and be willing to learn from others. And that will shorten our learning curve and open doors that we may not have been able to open or access on our own. Our immigrant journeys, teaches us resilience, but our responsibility is to use that resilience to build something greater.
mm.
The goal
Mm.
should not be to just survive the transition. And Blessing said it earlier. We should be intentional about creating opportunities, building legacies, and leaving a stronger foundation for the
Mm.
generation that is coming after us. That would be my response to Blessing. Thank you. You know, the truth is, I feel like I get a little bit emotional just, you know, hearing and listening to the feedback and just even, reflecting on my own journey and not just mine. I think I'm in a position professionally where I see the journey of so many immigrants.
Mm.
And if you truly hear some of the stories, it really does bring tears to our eyes.
Yeah.
And I really take it personal because, whenever I get the opportunity to share with people and they may share their stories with me, even, not even being a part of this business, I've always taken it upon myself to, no, you need to look at this, you need to look at that. Why not this? Why not? And now having, being exposed to options, because one of the things we come on here every week and we share with our immigrant brothers and sisters and families, and we say, hey, the 9 to 5 is a good thing. I think we all here have our nine to
Mm.
five, but we
Mm.
recognize that it alone is not sufficient. And for us
Yeah.
to truly, truly live, a fulfilling life, and I'm sure we all have goals for ourselves and our families, the 9 to 5 will not work. So we have to
Mm.
create options for ourselves so we can build a better life, but also create options where our children and our grandchildren can benefit. We're creating legacies. Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Thank you, Blessing. Back to you.
Thank you so much. This conversation is very real because here we are highlighting like the realities of immigrants living abroad. Because most times we
Yes.
pretend, or most times most people back home they expect so much from you, but they don't know what you're experiencing. And the truth is that most of us, when we migrate abroad, we are even ashamed to even tell most of our friends or relatives the kind of jobs we are doing abroad because
Mm-hmm.
they know the kind of status we have back home. So that's why that's why most times I tell people, don't just, yes, you find yourself in that place, but don't just settle there. If there's a room for you to improve, if there's a room for growth, please embrace it. Embrace it, because most countries you might have your qualification from back home, but they still need you to have a qualification in their own country. So don't lazy around. Don't feel, oh, because I'm doing the job, I'm tired. There's no excuse. Remember, you are intentional. You know what you want. You know the
Yes.
reason why you came. So if, for example, you came into a country and you didn't get the exact job that fits your qualification, and you see yourself
Mm-hmm.
doing a menial job, my dear, please be intentional. Go to that job with
Yes.
all happiness. Save up.
Mm-hmm.
Get another qualification that would help you push the one you brought from back home to get the kind of job you want. And remember, as you're working your ass off, as you're sending that money back home to your relatives, as you're doing whatever it is you're doing, remember to check your health. Remember
Mm-hmm.
to go for medical checkup, because most of us immigrants, we've worked so hard that we don't even make time to go and do our test, our medical test, to check our body, to check what is wrong. We just feel, oh, we are okay, we are okay. And before you know, we will become so weak. And before you know it, is something else.
Yes.
So, beautiful immigrants, it's okay to migrate. It's okay to most times not, get the job that you want. But the question is, do you want to settle in there? Do you want to keep living in survival mode? Do you want to keep complaining and not doing anything to change that particular situation? So before we end our go live today, ladies, I want you to, if you have anything you want to contribute before we end our live. So I'll start with Joanne. Joanne has been so quiet. So Joanne, what do you have to contribute?
Um, this is one of those conversations that we don't really like to talk about if we are not doing anything else to
Mm,
supplement our income. because then it puts you in a corner where you're like thinking, why do I have to talk about this? But it's a reality for many
Mhm.
immigrants. And it,
Yes.
all of us, different countries we've settled in, but the
Mhm.
story is similar
Mhm.
because the issues are the same. So if you're an immigrant and you've been listening to us, or you come across this video and you're thinking, what am I supposed to do? What else can I do? Send us a message. This is a conversation that you need to have, not just for yourself, for your future, for your
Mhm.
generation, for your family, so that you're not just stuck in a 9 to 5, but you create a long-term financial stability for yourself. So thank you for listening to us. Send us a message if this resonated with you.
Okay, thank you so much, Joanne. Ava, how about you? Let's go.
As we close, I want to leave this thought to our immigrants. Starting over is one of the bravest decisions a person can make. It's a
Mhm.
journey filled with opportunities, but it's also filled with sacrifice that many people never see. We've shared our own experiences today, not because our journey is unique, but it reflects the reality of so many immigrant families. We've experienced moments of uncertainty, disappointment, and having to rebuild our confidence. But we've also experienced growth, resilience, and the joy of seeing that perseverance truly pay off. There is a young lady that I saw, and I think she's of Nigerian descent.
Mhm.
And she came. I think she may be in Dubai. She migrated, and she spoke of how embarrassed she was for the job she was doing. What she expected to come and do that wasn't working, and she
Mhm.
was embarrassed. She was so
Mhm.
embarrassed to share with her friends and family back home. And she had a friend that was actually coming to visit her. And she was
Mhm.
in some living arrangement where there were just several of them in one big room. So just
Wow.
imagine you are here working and sending back, and everybody believe you're living the good life, only for your friend to come and realize that you're in a setting where you're living with how many people in a room. And
Mhm.
she was embarrassed, but you know what, she used every single opportunity she got. I think she was working like with a bus service or something at some
Mhm.
point in time. And over time, she was able to open her own transportation business. And from there,
Mhm.
it was as if every facility that she went in, she learned a skill so well that she was able to open a business. At the time of her interview, she had fleet of vehicles that were
Mhm.
offering transportation service in the country she was. And
Mhm.
you know as you were just speaking, Joanne, just now, I remember that story, and I thought it was critical to share, because the
Mhm.
truth is, many a times persons come, they see the struggles, and it is easy to throw yourself a pity party and
Mhm.
wallow in it and cry. But no, don't use that to keep you down. Use it as your motivation, as your
Mhm.
stepping stool. So I
Mhm.
want to say that if you're in a season where you're questioning your decision, because we've had that, right? I share Jordan's story. It's not mine, but I can share it. You're
Mhm.
questioning your decision and you're wondering if all your sacrifice is worth it, or you're feeling like you've lost a part of yourself. I want to encourage you this evening. Do not let your current circumstances define your future. Where you begin in a new country is not where your story will end. At the same time, don't believe that working hard is the only answer. And I think
Mhm.
we've reiterated that on numerous occasions throughout the conversation. Work hard, yes, but also work wisely, work smart, keep learning, build meaningful relationships, seek mentors, invest in a new skill, and create multiple streams of income where it is possible. And most importantly, I want us to make decision today that our future self will thank us for, or next
Mm,
generation will say thank you. Our hope
mm,
is that every immigrant family moves beyond simply surviving and begin intentionally building legacies of stability, opportunity, and purpose. Thank you again. Thank you so much, for taking the time to just be with us on a Thursday. Well, it's my Thursday. It's a ladies' Friday morning. I truly hope that that which we shared this evening was beneficial. And if you think you know someone who may benefit from this, share with them. Yes, share with them. Share the live with them. And if you're in a position where you're like, probably I should not. No, reach out to us. Any one of us will be happy to share with you, because my slogan is we rise by lifting others. I truly, truly believe that. And I believe every single day that comes home to me so strongly. I hold on to it. I've held on to it tightly because I truly, 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 truly believe in that. Together we can
mm,
continue learning and growing and helping immigrant families rise, thrive, and build a future that is greater
mm.
than we can ever imagine. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ladies. It's always a
Oh,
blessing and a pleasure coming on and sharing with you.
oh, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I really appreciate. And for those who are watching us, if this conversation spoke to you, I want you to share your thoughts in our various comment sections. We would love to hear your story, because sometimes the lesson that changes someone else's life is hidden inside your own journey. I hope you
Yes.
all have a lovely weekend. It's Friday, so goodbye from Japan. See you again next week.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.